Welcome, newcomers and true believers alike. This is the Countdown to Doomsday, an MCU watch along podcast packed to the brim with thrills and chills, twists and turns, and more supervillains than you can shake a destroyed friendship at. I'm your host, Jake, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, who would only ever take Cap's side, Sammy. Hello.
Hello. That's so true. I even had it decided before the movie came out.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very clear who the semi bad guy is in Civil War. It's more clear in the comics.
Yeah,
Uh, they leave it a bit more ambiguous in this, a little bit.
a little bit. So because I feel like this is going to be a bit of a jam-packed one. Should I just get the
Yes.
disclaimer out the way with, then we
Yeah,
can
go for it.
crack on open. Okay. So everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on the Facebook group. You can join us in the Discord or the comment section where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong, because we can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behavior out of nerdism.
Excelsior. But
Thank
we're
you.
here. We're at Captain America Civil War. Sorry, I had to say the full title there and not just call it Civil War.
Yeah,
9 long years ago, this graced our screens before the Americans got to see it. We had a couple of
absolutely.
weeks head start, I think.
Yeah, it's 8 years after the introduction of Iron Man to now here.
Yeah,
Isn't that
nuts.
crazy?
We're really leaping through time doing this series, aren't
We really
we?
are. The only thing I've got on the production is just about the Russos, that they were actually confirmed to return as the director
Yeah.
due to the success of Winter Soldier
Yes, I did note that down when I was watching that this felt like Winter Soldier light, in the way it was like put together.
film. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, how it was edited and such. But they were actually picked to do this movie or signed on to do this movie before it even came out. It was based
Yeah.
on the test screenings.
All right.
So they were like, "Yeah, Russo's will have you."
Yeah. And then technically we've already seen a sneak peek of this because there was a scene cut out stuck on the end of Ant-Man for some reason.
Just to make sure
Um,
you're aware Ant-Man's going to be coming back.
yeah, I feel like it wasn't needed that way around. Yeah, maybe I think maybe this movie needed a quick, more of an Ant-Man refresher. like,
Yeah.
but anyway, it's still fun. But yeah, so I think you were mentioning before there's not really alternate casts because it's another ensemble piece where we have everyone locked in,
Hmm.
signed on to these characters for the rest of their lives, it would seem.
It really would. And no, no alternative casting. And tonight I am staying away from the facts.
Mhm.
This movie is has a dividing opinion on with people, and it
Yeah.
did back in 2016 as well. There was a lot of talk around 2016 about the fact that the title is based off a very big comic series that
Mhm.
Marvel did back in 2006. Um, and there was a lot of talk on, how they're gonna do this, how they're gonna make, Spider-Man reveal himself and that, because we don't even know who Spider-Man is. But
Yeah.
what you have to remember is that this has to fit, or what we had to remember is that this needed to fit a new audience.
Mhm.
And I like the idea of, and I was all for it. I was like, this needs to fit this timeline. I'm totally happy for, however way it's gonna go. Not
Yeah,
really
like
bothered.
same. Like I read the comic around this time, but I wasn't being like, oh well, they better do exactly this, otherwise I'm not gonna be happy. Like I think at this point we knew from like Avengers or like Infinity Gauntlet adjacent products, like
Hmm.
we knew how it was gonna go. It was gonna be their version,
Yeah.
not the comics version.
No,
Um,
I read the comic before us, way before
yeah.
as this movie was being like announced or whatever. I was trying to piece the timeline together because this ended in 2007. The comic series ended in,
Yes.
so it was from July 2006 to February 2007. And me and Anth got together in August, no, May of 2007.
Yeah.
So he'd already read all of this. And
Yeah.
I remember him handing me a disk drive going, here it is. Have this. Have
Yeah,
it.
you got to learn all about the new warriors and how messed up this storyline made them.
Hmm.
And we're back. But yes, so we were just talking about how the Civil War in the comics got started, and it's very different to how this story gets started, shall we say?
Yeah.
Because we've already seen how it gets started, and it's Sokovia being dropped out of the sky in Age of Ultron is our inciting incident, kind of, I would say.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
what the paperwork gets named after it, after all. But in the comics, it was a bunch of mutants, I believe, called the New Warriors, who accidentally exploded and blew up a city because one of them was sort of like a nuclear
yeah,
power
Nitro
guy,
explodes, killing more than about 600 people.
which is
Um,
more than the Avengers death count because that is shown on screen when
mhm.
Thunderbolt shows up. They're about at about 300 in the MCU.
It's clearly, I mean, I think it's clearly enough
Yeah, cause
to
concern.
cause concern, and then obviously what happens with Wanda, that
Yeah,
and it's like it's starting to tally up. It's starting to like, New York, Sokovia,
yeah.
um, they even included the Hulk in there as well.
Yeah, which was mean, but it is Thunderbolt, so like that's his jam.
That
He's
is
like
true.
any pot shot I can take.
I think I took a quote from Kevin Feige because I think he said it perfectly. That this is the Civil War of the cinematic universe, which will
Yeah,
be greatly inspired by the Civil War of the comic universe. But we have a very different continuity going on. It's not about the secret identity thing as much as it's about the overall who reports to who and
yeah,
who can agree to an oversight committee. Because as of now, in Age of Ultron, there is no more Security Council. There's no shield.
mhm,
So obviously Stark's paying for the Avengers. Captain America is running it, and things occur that will make governments begin to question.
mhm.
So yeah, and obviously there's a lot of effect with Winter Soldier on Captain America and this as well. Like,
Yes.
so
He's technically like,
you don't trust no one.
and the Caps, there's evidence of Cap, putting his neck out for war criminal James
Ex
Buchanan Barnes.
oh, there's such a deep thing there,
Yeah.
isn't it? It transcends. I think it transcends friendship, but not in like a sexual
Yeah.
way. Just it is like a brothership, like kindred
Yeah.
spirit there, and he is the only person out of his time who is with him and will actually understand him.
Yeah, it's amazing because like they've kept that up because obviously at the start it was like, oh, Steve's like my younger brother, but also Steve wasn't the type of younger brother to take like handouts or anything from his like
No,
older brother figure. And then Bucky gets in the army, Steve follows in the army, Steve becomes super soldier, Bucky is forced to become super soldier,
yeah,
and right now they are like on a level playing field in sort of like mind and body.
hmm
um it's nice to see them get a couple of moments in this film. It's just sad that they never get to just sit and be friends. Like
yeah. But there's a lot of in this movie. There's a lot. You remember when I mentioned in Age of Ultron that I love the times when
yeah,
people are just being human. There's a lot of moments in this where
yeah,
people are just being human. So I thoroughly enjoy that
yeah.
side of it. But then there's also the great action scenes as well.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so people were mad that the comics are different, but like that's got friggin' like, Luke Cage, Danny Rand is Daredevil, Wolverine, and Punisher's there. We just couldn't do it. Like there's
Yeah,
like
there's
people's
too much.
expectations should not have been anywhere near like, that.
There's a massive death that like kind of
Yeah.
breaks people.
Yeah, yeah.
When Goliath dies, and they're like,
It
oh
yeah, it breaks Spider-Man's continuity after Civil War because of the whole one more day thing gets like started from here.
yeah.
Um,
So you couldn't do that in this, and I wouldn't ever expect them to. We had
no.
the point of the cinematic universe was to have its own timeline. Yes,
Yeah.
take from great titles, and in order to get the older nerds to come in and but be part of the new,
Yeah.
because this is for a lot of newcomers would have been coming at this time.
And I know it's not really for the fans to worry about, but like legally, you can't just lift somebody else's story out of their comic book and be like, oh, it's ours now, like because we adapted a screenplay.
Yeah.
Like, and as an artist, like as a writer, like you probably don't want to do that. You probably want to tell your own story. Like it's not if you're just following like making a script out of a book and
Hmm.
not changing anything, like what is that creative exercise? It's just like tracing something.
Yeah. No,
People
that's
probably
totally
don't want to do it.
totally
Um,
true. If we go from the start of the movie, do you want to do that?
yeah, we can dive right in. It's a very cold Siberian opening in
Yeah.
1991, um, where we get like a sort of reminder of how messed up Bucky's existence was, because he's just sort of like having his code words read to him, which I think this is the first time that shows up, doesn't it? Like the
Yeah.
brainwash words.
It's the only one I can remember is freight car.
Yeah, which is very poignant for old Bucky. That's what he fell off.
Yep. It's the
There's
only one
like,
I can remember.
yeah, like Homecoming's in there, and people are like, "Is that a Spider-Man reference?" And then they were like, "No, it was just things that sounded quite nice in Russian, like either harsh or
Hmm.
poetically like flowed well."
Yeah. So we get to
Yeah.
see Bucky, but then we get transported straight away into present day
God, yeah.
with what would I assume is the new Avengers?
Yeah, yeah. So it's we're on the trail of Rumlow or Rum was it
I love
Rumlaw?
that name, Rumlow. I love that name.
Is that the
Crossbones.
is that the bad guy from West Wally? We're on Oddlaw's trail.
Did West Wally have
He's like,
did West Wally have a bad guy?
yeah, his name's Waldo backwards.
Oh my
He's
God,
called
okay.
Oddlaw. And he's yellow and black. Ooh.
Oh my God. No, this is
um
Rumlow Crossbones.
Yeah, and he's got his full get up on, like his armor with skulls on it, and like he's just like got knives everywhere. He's kind of like Deathstroke, isn't he? Like he's full of
Yeah,
pockets with explosives and things in
it's
them.
got them everywhere. So yeah, they're in the where are they? I can't remember where they
Oh,
are.
I think it's technically, is it like Bucharest? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I
It's like Uganda.
think
Um,
so. But a part of this new Avengers is Captain Rogers and Natasha Romanoff, Sam Wilson, Wanda Maximoff.
yes.
That's it.
It's a very sparse lineup of mostly sort of like not a lot of superhumans, I guess,
No,
Yeah.
there's some great action in this, and there's some great camaraderie between like Sam and Natasha, and
Sam is
oh
so funny in this film. Like I laughed out loud a couple of moments, like his lines specifically, and I think it's because he's just got really good comedic timing, like over everyone else. Um, but yeah, I love the part where Cap does that big drop kick off that guy who's standing on the Jeep. It's like a proper like
yes,
parkour drop kick, and I'm just like it clap round of
Natasha's
applause.
Natasha's stunt double needs being double like
Yeah,
all the money for that sequence when she's running through
yeah.
the alleyway and she's just jumping and leaping over because that is not Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, yeah. She's got plenty of wrestling moves in as well. She definitely does a sort of drop kick, rock bottom combo
Yeah,
thing, and I was like,
but
hell yeah.
the edit between Natasha's stunt, like between Scarlett Johansson's stunt double and her, is crazy how they get it
Yeah,
so
it's.
perfect.
I was trying to see her face. You can't
You
see it.
don't.
There's
Nah,
they
it's not one of
even
those moments where you go, "That's not her."
they even take the time to do a couple of like transition shots where it's
Hmm.
just her doing like a quick turn and then it's back to the stunt. So like they're putting the work in. They're not just being like, if we shoot the stunt double from far away, we don't have to cut anything.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so like this, it's kind of like so Rumlaw or Crossbones is trying to steal some kind of virus. So you get that whole like, oh, he's gonna get one of his henchmen. You're not gonna know who's got the virus, and then the whole thing of like, if you shoot me, I'll smash this on the floor, and we'll have
Mm.
virus times. They never explain what it is or anything,
No,
so that's just left up to our imagination.
that's
um,
yeah, that is.
Probably Ebola. Ebola was big in the news right around this time. But yeah, and then so we've got a virus right in the middle of all the people. I did note down as well at this part, it gets quite scary, the action, because I think they're trying to show more of like the fear in the sort of
Violent.
civilians' eyes. And
Yeah.
they don't really do make an effort to get rid of the civilians
No, they
or
don't.
anything.
Not like they did not because in Sokovia they made such a point
Yes,
of like, let's get everyone out, let's save
that was first
everyone.
mission. Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh. And then in this one it was like, meh, okay.
yeah. I mean, it might
Um,
not have helped with what happens, because
no.
uh, Crossbones is like, cornered, and he's like, Bucky's alive or something, or like he
Oh, I
remembered
hate
you.
that. I hate that. Like, you Bucky, your pal.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
fuck off.
Rumlow is horrible. You get to see his like gnarly face as well. He's like, you dropped a building on my head.
Steve looks so taken aback by that.
Yeah. He hates seeing the bad things. Although he
But
didn't technically do that, did he? That was kind of more Sam's deal.
yeah.
He fought
Um,
him.
but then Rumlow's already released some so we got to kind of see a bit more of Wanda because he released the
Yes.
gas in the building and she kind of like take took the gas out and just put it up into the atmosphere to kind of
Yeah.
get it away from the civilians. But then you see the downside of Wanda's abilities and that she is still a baby to all this. Like she still
Yeah.
doesn't really know how to control what she's got because she ends up taking out a whole building.
Yeah, which is like quick thinking on her part to stop the explosion to sort of hold it in place.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's
It
not
was, but it
she's not
wasn't.
like military trained, so it's like,
No.
she kind of just throws him up in the air, and he kind of like, he takes out a few floors of a building.
Well,
Um,
where the Wakanda humanitarians are working and
yeah,
wrong people. I
yeah,
mean,
which
wrong
causes
people
a
anyway, but really wrong people.
yes, because it causes an international incident. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we came back into the world because our vibranium had been stolen, and we're trying to like make it right and sort of reintegrate and stuff. And then this happens.
Yeah. God damn you, Wanda. But no, oh, it's Steve's reaction to it.
Yeah, when he's just like, and then just sort of goes back into his like crisis management mode.
Yeah, like maybe
Yeah,
this was too soon. Maybe bringing
yeah,
Wanda in the field might have been like we asking too much, given that she is literally just new to all this.
yeah. And I can't imagine she's like, the American army's favorite person, like right now,
No,
like, international
no.
sort of possible terrorist for a little while, but kind of, manipulated.
Yeah, because it brings bloody Thaddeus Ross. I
Yeah,
love that name, by the way. Thaddeus.
I know it's such a good one. We have to have a little jaunt to Tony Stark first, though, where he's doing his like
Oh,
weird
yes.
young face back in time. Uh,
His very expensive therapy session, which nobody actually needed to see.
no, no, not even us.
No,
um,
nobody needed to see it, but we kind of need it. It's it's very
yeah,
foreshadowing. It kind of helps with the story, but
yeah.
essentially, it wasn't really needed.
No, yeah, we get to see like his last moments with his parents as he's sort of like having a bit of a back and forth, being like, like, I'm just gonna party while you're away and stuff. And then he gets his moment to say I love you to his dad, which he does take, and he's like, that's the moment I wanted to change, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like he
that's the
wished
bit.
he'd said that.
It's when his mum's like, you know what's about to happen.
Yeah,
You're gonna regret this if you don't do
yeah,
it. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
deep.
His dad does say a nice thing about him though, because when they're like talking, he's like, sarcasm is metric for potential. So you might be a great man one day. Like his dad is trying with him. Like I know that the paint him
The,
as like, an alcoholic, workaholic, like,
but
womanizer.
they're very much alike. They are
Yeah,
exactly the same person, which I
yeah,
think is what he figures out, obviously through his Iron Man journey, is that
yeah.
yeah, he's just his dad.
And I think
He's
like,
no different.
yeah, the problem is his dad's treating him like a co-worker, a
Yeah,
peer,
as
rather than
opposed
a
to his
son.
son. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is so weird because obviously later on
Mm.
we see how much Tony means to him before he's even born.
Yeah, yeah. And he gets to meet him and have a little chat in the past.
I don't know if it's because I'm not feeling too good, but that nearly got me very emotional. That scene really gets to me. Is where he's like,
um,
I will do anything for him, and he's not even here yet, and he's standing
yeah,
right in front of him.
yeah. We can't tell him because he would wreck history, but
He
probably
would.
not actually. But we'll get there one day when we confuse Sammy about time travel. The
Oh,
Dean
don't.
from Communities here, talking about a self-cooking hot dog.
He's the
Just
guy I call Moby.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's great in Community though. Um,
I think he played Moby in How I Met Your Mother.
right. Okay, that makes
Or who
total
they thought
sense.
was Moby, and it's
Yeah.
really not. Yeah. We was in something the other night. We were watching. I was like, "Oh, is that Moby?" And Anthony was like, "No, it's him from How I Met Your Mother, who was playing Moby, the fake
He's
Moby."
Yeah, he's so good in Community, but a very wacky character, which doesn't really fit with this scene. Or the next scene when a grieving mother confronts Tony
Yeah,
backstage.
another Marvel. So Marvel always made a point that we'll never recast anyone. So like if you see one person in this
Yeah,
movie, you'll never see them in it again.
yeah, yeah,
Well, they kind of did with her because now it's not canon, so now it doesn't matter. But she was in Luke Cage. She
yeah,
played Cottonmouth's sister, mom, niece, nephew,
yeah. I think it was Mother, but she was
mother.
awesome in that show.
Yeah,
That
she's a
the whole
brilliant
the whole
actress.
Coppermouth sort of side story was excellent in Luke Cage. Like I love
He
those
was
guys.
Makushna Ali was such an amazing
Yeah.
bad guy.
Yeah, that was just like the best part of the series.
Hmm.
Same kind of goes for Iron Fist. Like the baddies were the most interesting
The least
part.
we could least we talk about that, the better. Like I'm a Danny Rand fan. I'm an Iron Fist fan. That is just no, big
Yeah,
no.
that was a messy period, but
Oh, it was
we've moved on.
awful. Yeah, we've moved on, and hopefully we'll get another Danny Rand at some point when he needs to
Yeah,
come in.
yeah. So like, yeah. So basically, she's like, my son was in Sokovia, and we find out a little later that he was like doing a missionary sort of, not a missionary, but like a humanitarian,
Yeah,
like building sustainable houses.
yeah, he's been a
And
good guy.
got caught in the whole Ultron mess. Um, but yeah, so we do see a quick shot of King T'Chaka because I think uh
News report. That's when
Wanda's
Thaddeus
watching the
is.
news. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
just spiraling, shall we say.
yeah,
Cap does try and give her a little sort of pep talk, but it's very much like an army pep talk.
yeah,
Where he's saying like, I should have clocked the bomb vest before like you had to deal with it. He says like, oh, he mentioned Bucky and it was like I was like 16 years old again, sort of thing. Like,
he tries to shift the blame to
yeah,
him because he can take it. She clearly can't. But my
mhm.
favorite moment is when Vision just comes through the wall, and she's like,
Yeah,
"We've talked about this," and it's like,
yeah.
"Oh, you're friends.
So
Look at you two."
I like the thing that Steve and like Vision have going on where they don't really see eye to eye as like friends, but
Mm,
they like to philosophize a bit. But like
yeah,
Steve's is very based in like feelings, but Vision's is very much based in like logic and patterns and stuff. Because
yeah,
like Steve at this point is like saying like, we'll try and save as many people as we can. Sometimes that doesn't mean everybody, but if we can't find a way to live with that, then next time maybe nobody gets saved. So like his thinking is like, we're better there, than not there, because if they weren't there, the virus potentially gets away, and then that's
yeah.
a whole other incident.
That's well because the Thaddeus Ross, who's now the Secretary of State,
Yeah,
um, how that man crawled up the ranks. But anyways, he's now come to say basically that they're going to be putting in place what's called the Sokovia Accords, which
yes,
will basically oversee and control the Avengers, so they are not no longer out on their own and doing their
yeah,
own thing. They will be held accountable for their
and they
actions.
and they can't act unless the UN comes to a
Tells them,
decision that
yeah,
they're allowed to act.
that's right. And Tony is instantly all over this, but he's very. You don't while Thaddeus is explaining it,
Yeah,
Tony's incredibly quiet.
because he's already had the conversation. That's what I feel.
He's he's
Like
already in it. He
he's
probably
already
wrote it.
yeah, he's already like agreed to this behind closed doors. Um, Thunderbolt does quickly talk about his heart surgery, which we know now the outcome
Yeah,
of that was that
it
he
transforms him into Harrison Ford.
and he was getting experimental Hulk juice put in him to save his heart by
Yes.
by I can't remember what that guy's
But
called
just
now.
but
The
just know that is
mastermind.
that's kind of not the reason why Harrison Ford took over was because he was
No.
getting Hulk juice. It's because the actor actually passed away. William had passed away. Uh, but yeah, I love Steve's speech here where he says that, the best hands are our own.
Yeah.
And you've got to understand where that comes from after Winter Soldier. He's already
Yeah.
seen what corruption can do, and it's like, I'm not going down that path again.
Yeah. And Steve doesn't even know at this point that there's like an evil army of winter Avengers. So
Yeah.
like he's it's very much like a two sides of the coin. You're absolutely right, Sammy, where it's like we see the what would happen when a bad government like has a super
Hmm.
soldier. Um,
Yeah.
so this is where we kind of flash to Zemo, speaking of Winter Soldier stuff. And he's managed to find Winter Soldier's handler, the guy who was reading the code words to him that we saw in the 90s. And he still has his red ledger stashed away in his little wall.
I don't know how I feel about it being Zemo. That's my only
Yeah.
thing. I didn't mind. I understood his logic behind it, behind
Yes.
everything, but I didn't think it was necessary that it be Zemo. But maybe
Yeah.
you need that character name to hold weight on what they're doing.
I guess so. But yeah, like Zemo in the comics is very like larger than life and sort of wears a mask,
Purple.
like a hooded mask thing constantly. And is, yeah, very purple and sort of flamboyant and the evil, I guess you would say.
Yeah. So, and this wasn't that at all. This was
No.
straight up revenge. Like,
Yeah.
there was
Smart
no
revenge though, like, too
really
like
smart.
super smart.
Yeah.
Too
Uh-huh.
smart. It's
But
interesting though, because like we find out that he found this person because of Black Widow leaking those files in Winter Soldier.
that's right.
It's
Yeah,
a
because
direct, yeah,
yeah,
like
Black Widow did the naughty, did the dirty on everyone and was like, "Hey, have it all. Here's all Hydra's
yeah, and
secrets."
it accidentally came back to bite them in the worst way
Yeah.
possible.
But just to talk about Zemo a second, I absolutely love Daniel Bruhl.
Oh, he's
Um,
great. Yeah.
he's an absolutely fantastic actor. I first met him in Inglorious Bastards, and that
Mhm.
accent is just, oh, chef's
He's
kiss.
he's interesting, right? Because like just like looking at photographs, you'd probably be like, "Oh, he's not very intimidating. How could he be a bad guy?" But like the way he talks and stuff is quite sort of like
Yeah, it's menacing.
intimidating and scary. Even when he's sort of trying to be nice to people, there's still like a little something's not quite right with this guy feeling.
No,
So at no point am I like, well, this isn't a good foil for like Steve Rogers, because I'm like, no, this guy's creepy and he's got it all figured out in a scary way.
yeah, and I do like how they continued the Zemo character into Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So I do
Yeah.
like that aspect of it. I just at the time I wasn't sure why Zemo, why
Mhm.
him, why like is there no other use for him at this point?
Yeah.
But hey, what
I
do
mean,
I know?
people think he's in the raft as well, and that he may be returning soon, but I don't know.
Was he
The
not part of the lineup?
I don't know. Well, you never see him, but it's possible his cell was in the background in the new cap.
Mm.
Um, but yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah, this is where it's sort of flashing back and forward a bit, and sort of Cap and Tony are actually finally having it out because he's like, because she's Widow's like, your uncharacteristically quiet, and he's like, that's because
Hmm.
he's already signed.
Yeah.
Like Cap knows immediately what's up.
I hate some of the dialogue that Tony says at this point. It
Yeah,
just makes my toes curl. It's the am I running a B&B for a biker gang? It's the way he
yeah,
says biker gang. I'm like, oh, shut up.
yeah, because he's trying to like deflect a bit and complain about like the coffee grounds and the
It's
disposal and stuff.
But then, honestly, there is some absolutely heart melting and breaking moments with Tony throughout this
Mm,
film, and this is the starting point. Is when he just puts the image up, and he's like,
mhm.
"Oh, him. Oh, this is," and then he starts explaining who he is, and you can hear as he's explaining, he's breaking inside
Yeah, yeah,
because Tony's thing has always been to stop the threat. He was the threat because he was creating the weapons in order
Yes.
to harm people. Then when he, started his Iron Man journey, all he's wanting to do is stop it and protect. It's been Tony's thing the whole time. So to know that his actions once again have led to devastating consequences, he's wounded, he's broken.
Hmm.
It's just another layer to like, and I think because I've really paid attention to, because obviously we started this journey
Hmm.
with Iron Man, and I've paid attention to Tony quite a bit. I feel more for him now than I probably ever have.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's just very misguided. And he's
He's
surrounded by people who are ready to guide him, like Steve Rogers, and he just won't accept like
Tony
any
wants quick
help.
fixes. He's always wanted
Yeah.
quick fixes. Look at Ultron. It's a quick
Yeah.
fix. It's a protection around the world. Let me just
And
let,
it,
let me just do
and
it.
it
I'll do
went
it. I'll do it
horribly
quickly.
wrong.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
how fast was he wanting when Vision? Let's do
Yeah.
it again. Come on, we can do this. Like it's Tony is always about quick fixes, and once again, this is another quick fix.
Yeah.
But he thinks that the Accords will keep them in check, keep them grounded. When Steve is right that it's not it's just going to pass the blame around, because if they and Tony proves that later on, where he's
Yeah.
like, well, we can just make this all go away, and it's like, oh look, you've just literally proven what it is the Accords are going to do. if
Yeah.
you if we do one action and the inside is like, oh, that's actually okay, but apparently it's really bad, we'll just shift it somewhere else.
Hmm.
Cap wants to be held accountable for exactly what he does.
Yeah. He's because he says like if we sign this, we lose our right to choose. He's like, what if we need to go somewhere and they won't let us, or
Hmm.
what if they send us somewhere that we shouldn't be, sort of thing. Um, but then he gets a mystery text being like, she passed in the night. And he's like, I've got to go. So it looks to everyone else that he's just bouncing on the meeting before it's like decided, but
People
he's
do
got it.
actually look genuinely concerned at this point.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, and also just to go back to this meeting, oh my God, do I really hate War Machine in this movie?
Oh, he's such a
Um,
turd.
it's oh my gosh, he's the Secretary of the State, Sam. He would know better. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
he's got
shut up.
he's got the Medal of Honor.
Sam has been in military as well. Do not talk down to him.
No.
You talked on the same level as him, but he patronized him the whole time.
Yeah. No, I don't like sort of I don't like Rhodey at the best of times. I mean, he's fine, but he is that character who is like, the government is right sort of thing.
Yeah, I haven't even enjoyed Roddy in the comics. Like I'm not like
No, he's
I don't
very
care.
much like the anti thing that I enjoy about comics, with him being the war machine who has the
Yeah,
most
don't
weapons
get
attached to his
yeah.
suit.
It's not that I don't hate him or anything. It's just like he's
Yeah.
and he does. I know his stance does change later on. We see that it's a clear change in Infinity War,
Yeah.
to who Roddy is now, and I'm guessing
Then he
the
becomes a scroll though, sorry, at some
oh,
point and gets and gets more muddy.
I mean, who doesn't in
I don't know. I
the
can't remember. But yeah, so this is where we get the funeral of Peggy Carter. And it's quite sad. It
it,
broke me when he's carrying the coffin and it
it just
zooms in on his
tears.
face,
Just
and he's
tears.
yeah.
It's the end. I mean, we'll talk about the funeral in a second because my favorite person,
Mhm.
just want to punch her in the face.
So this is technically the reveal, isn't it, of Sharon Carter being who she is. Even we've had enough hints to figure it out when she was on about her
Hmm.
auntie keeping her up all
Yeah.
night and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but she gives like some
She gives the
advice.
weirdest, I mean, she gives the best advice, but she gives the
Yes.
weirdest opening. She's like, yes, this was my auntie, but we didn't tell anyone we were related, Steve. Like, she directly looks
Yeah.
at him like, no, you wouldn't say that.
Yeah, Steve's not even looking when she gets on the podium, and like Sam has to give him a nudge to like look up, sort of
I
thing.
love Chris Evans' reaction. She's like, "What?
Yeah.
What?"
Yeah. But I wrote this down as well because I love like
Yeah, it
words
was
where she's
lovely.
like she asked Peggy how she sort of got around being like a woman at a time when no one wanted us to succeed. Just like compromise where you can, and where you can't, don't. Even if everyone is telling you that something is right, even if the whole world is telling you to move, it's your duty to plant yourself like a tree, look them in the eye and say, no, you move. And I feel like Cap took that literally in this
Literally,
movie.
but it had to be Peggy's words. No other if Sharon had said that, he wouldn't have probably it wouldn't have
No.
registered. But it's Peggy,
Yeah.
of all people, who he trusts probably more than anyone. Um, yeah, another person out of his time. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
likes to keep them kind of them bonds, and obviously has a very very affectionate bond when it comes to Peggy.
Yeah.
But it's the when Black Widow, she's like, I didn't want you to. He's like, well, she's like, I'm going to the Accords now. You're going to come with us? And he's like, no, I can't. She was like, yeah, I totally understand. And he's like, well, why are you here? And she's like, I didn't want you to be alone. And I was like,
Yeah. And he
oh,
just hugs her like without saying anything. He
yeah.
understands.
It was that. It was the fact she went, come here, come here, and she
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
she does the friend. I love their relationship.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, it's clearly been cemented through Winter Soldier and continues on right up until Infinity War.
Hmm.
Um, but it's such a brother sister, and I think it helps. The chemistry helps because them two have known each other since they were kids.
Hmm. All right.
So
Yeah.
this relationship is not, it's not new. It's
Yeah.
and it really that brother relationship really comes out of them two. She she hates the fact that she has to do this, but
Yeah.
she has a redeeming moment at the end.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like they are really great together, and yeah, I hate seeing them have to be on different sides, even
But
if
the
it's
under
only
the
temporary.
the thing is though, they fully have an understanding. It's like,
Yeah,
and
there's
they
no
don't
like bad blood.
no,
Yeah.
it's not like Tony and Cap,
Mhm.
because I mean that tension has been rising for how long?
Oh yeah, like since the start, like big man v super
They've
farmer.
Yeah,
Like
they've really tried, but clearly there's too much conflict there.
yeah.
There's a lot of resentment from Tony when it comes to Cap, because
Yeah, about the father thing, how his dad never stopped talking about him.
Tony will see Cap as the son that his dad never had.
Yeah, his giant son.
This giant super soldier serum son.
Yeah. So this next bit starts moving quite quickly because we get Black Panther introduced.
Well, we don't
um,
know that yet. We don't,
no. Well, as fans,
unless,
we knew.
yeah, if you're a fan, you're gonna
Yeah.
know. If you're new to this, you ain't gonna know
Yeah.
that
T'Challa's here.
we get T'Chaka and we get T'Challa,
Yeah, having
and
a nice
oh
moment.
my God, how amazing is Chadwick Boseman? I love the man
Yeah.
anyway, and it's so unfair that he's not here anymore. But I love this introduction to T'Challa. It was
Yeah.
just chef's kiss.
Yeah, and it gives you a quick overview where he's like, I thought you weren't one for diplomacy because, cementing the fact in that he's more of a hands-on sort of warrior type of a
And,
sort of
um,
leader.
and we'll get there. We will get
Yeah.
there.
Very quick because his dad explodes. There's
Well,
another terror attack.
and this is one of so why can't I say it? I keep wanting to say Soviet. The Sokovia
Yeah.
Accords are being signed. It's been all agreed out, and
Yeah.
all nations are joining together. And I think Black Widow is representing the Avengers,
So
and
yeah. Yeah.
T'Chaka's there because obviously it comes off the back of what happened with the
Yes.
meeting that they had, and
Wakandans.
Wanda ruined it. Um, and it's T'Challa's reaction to it, like how quick his
Yeah, he's on.
instincts were. He's not even the Black Panther yet.
Yeah, yeah. But he's like right up there to be like, oh, have his final moments with his dad,
He's a
unfortunately.
he's a question. So I don't know if I can remember. So I know that to get the Black Panther powers, he has to go through the ritual. So he has to be
Yes.
challenged and then have the herb. But he seems to be very good in that suit.
Yeah, I think Black Panther is in the past, or is it not? No.
No, because he comes home and he does the whole ritual. Like his daddy's already gone.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have to pay close attention when we
But
get
maybe
there.
it's me. I don't know. I
I
don't know
think you
because
are right though, but no, I was thinking because I was like, oh well, he's fighting Bucky, so
yeah, I was
he must be
like,
souped up at this point.
is it a case of, when he put his dad's ring on and he was like, is that
Yeah.
the moment? Like, did that like transfer the power? Like, I don't,
Well,
but clearly it's not because we
yeah,
know from his movie.
it's like a plant, so it's like a serum, but a natural version.
But it gives it more than just his powers because he
Yeah,
clearly
he
because
talks to the dead and stuff
well,
like
that's
that.
it. It's more ancestry. It's more like connection and roots, and it's a
Yeah,
lot more deeper than just having super strength. Maybe he's
yeah,
born with it because he has to have his abilities taken away from him before he goes into his challenging fight. So maybe it's something that he always has. Like, Killmonger had it too.
yeah. True, true. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so now it's thought to be Bucky. They've got this like blurry footage that kind of looks like Bucky
Really
setting this
good.
bomb. Um, and yeah, the hunt is on. So like Sam joins up, Cap, you know, joins, sneaks over there because he wasn't really supposed to be in the city in Germany doing this. And we get our big first action scene where they get to Bucky's crappy looking apartment. And
Well,
he's like, "Do you
yeah,
know who I am?" And I love it when he's like, yeah, you're Steve. I've read about you in a museum."
yeah. But I love the fact that beforehand you actually see Bucky's life. Like he is kind of
His
like
crappy
he's
life, yeah.
he's aware. But I love the fact that he is speaking his native tongue at the
Yeah.
beginning because Sebastian Stan his first language is not English.
Mhm.
And I love the fact that is it Romanian? Is he Romanian? I
I'm
think
not
it might be
sure,
Romanian.
but
Um, I could be wrong on that, but
yeah,
I
he's
love
like
the fact
trying to
that
buy like fruit at the stall, isn't he? And
yeah.
sort of,
Yeah. So I love the fact that you get to see that and you get to see kind of Bucky's it is crappy life, but he's trying like he's trying to put like he's obviously got a clear like journey ahead of him and now it's going to be ruined.
yeah,
Poor,
because the
poor Buck.
German special forces is here for him.
Yeah, but Cap and Sam are going to try and get to him first,
Yeah.
and this is where it all boots off.
I absolutely love because you get like the cool like stairwell fight scene, which those are always fun. But like this
Oh,
one's
Marvel know how to do it, don't they?
yeah, this one's got the added sort of comedy of like Bucky's like taking no prisoners, like throwing guys over the side, and Cap's having to
Hmm.
like try and catch them a bit to like lessen the damage and be like, really? Like
Yeah.
there's also an awesome part where he blocks bullets with his like fist, like his hand out, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know he could use the arm like that. It looks really intimidating.
Yeah. I think that there's such another layer to Bucky now than just the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier, which I really enjoyed. I love the jumping out the window. That was cool. But then obviously the
Yes.
car chase as well.
Yeah. This is where Panther joins on the rooftops where he's proper like,
But you don't
like
know it's T'Challa.
doing his cat jumps.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a killer. He looks like he sucks to fight against. He's got little claws. He scratches everyone.
The suit is beautiful. But I
Yeah,
always love the Black Panther suit.
yeah, it looks awesome. You know what's cool as well? Like a few like of my younger cousins and stuff have got kids, and like their kids are like big Black Panther fans,
I
and I
love
think it's
that.
based on the outfit, and it's like that totally is like that's why they do these films and make these movies to pass the characters on to like another generation because
Hmm.
you ain't getting kids reading comics with Black Panther in. I wouldn't have thought because they're all like he's always very like serious and stoic
Yeah.
and stuff, and you
He's he's never been someone I was actually interested in reading apart from there was a run that came out in 2017
Mhm.
and the first issue just did not get me and I was like, oh, that's such a shame. Like I
Yeah,
was looking forward to this and I was just no, I don't know,
he's
it's not.
usually part of the Illuminati, like
Yeah.
conversations and stuff.
Oh yeah, and don't get us wrong, I love the fact that he's him and Storm good
Yeah,
together.
make a power couple.
Yeah, absolutely love that. It was just this issue. I think the writer as well. I don't particularly like his style, so I was
Yeah,
like, ah, that's a shame. So I just dropped off that one.
yeah. Um, so like throughout this sort of stuff, because obviously Bucky's trying to get away, but they're trying to get him back. Um, they do get out of it that Bucky doesn't remember killing anyone. And at this stage in the movie, we think, oh, well, he was probably just controlled. But technically, it's true. He hasn't been brainwashed yet. But he's about to be.
No, he's trying. He's obviously clearly his brain's been
Yeah, he doesn't trust
scrambled.
himself. He's like, well, I don't
No,
remember killing anyone, but how
it
could I
could it could
argue?
have been a thing. Yeah, it could have been a
Yeah.
thing. But
Um,
he's captured. And this
this
is
is
where
where
we.
when Rhodey comes in though, and he's like, "Congratulations, Cap, you're a criminal." Like
Oh,
he's
shut up, Brody.
such a shithead.
Yeah, shut up. And the whole Your Highness. All right.
Yeah, yeah, he's got diplomatic immunity, man. You can't lock him up.
Diplomatic immunity.
uh,
And this is where we meet Everett.
oh my god,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
Bilbo.
Tim
Yeah,
Canterbury.
I
The
cannot look.
Canterbury Tales.
I can't look at him, man. I don't know what it
I don't
is.
want to hear him. Why? Like, it's Martin Freeman. I love Martin Freeman. He's Tim in The Office. Like, he's played some
Yeah,
amazing parts. I Sherlock, I love him.
he's
But
friggin' Bilbo Baggins, for
oh,
God's sake.
why couldn't you just let him have his accent? Like, let's
Yeah,
Kevin Costner it. If it doesn't work, let's just keep his.
like I don't care if they're like a government employee is English. Like that would happen. They would switch jobs every now and then. Um,
Is it Everett Ross?
yeah. So we got two Rosses for some
Yeah,
reason.
that's why I stopped myself because I was
Yeah,
like, surely it can't be Ross.
yeah. I don't know why they did that.
Oh, it's so bad. The being hard to Bucky while he's like put in a
Yes.
big massive tank while he's tied up with these
Yeah.
big giant handcuffs, and it's like, oh, you want to be hard now while you're outside
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. And this is where you get some more Tony and Cap, where Cap's like, God, I hated you, like, hearing all the stupid stories, and Cap like, he's like, oh, I don't mean to make things difficult. Like he
He
does like feel
genuinely
bad about
doesn't.
this.
But this is another thing where this is the whole we can literally make this go away.
Yeah.
And that's not what Cap wants. And Tony is just playing into making Cap realize that this isn't the way. You
Yeah.
are literally just going to shift blame and make it look like somebody else is at fault when technically I'm at fault. I need to be held responsible for
And
my actions.
yeah, and he's like, he drops that the sort of keep and wander in the compound. And he's just like, Tony, like every time I almost come around, you do
Yeah.
something stupid and
It's
that
the well,
make me go away
the
again.
thing you also get a really, really good explanation for Iron Man
Yeah.
because Pepper is very noticeably not there.
Yes.
Tony's whole giving the kids, the grant monies and everything,
Mhm.
reframe the future. Pepper is meant to have been there, she's not, and it's a clear indication something's not right.
Yeah.
And it's explained in this moment that him and Pepper are kind of separated. He basically just he destroyed all of his suits because he couldn't protect her, but doesn't. It's the whole. I think we've talked about this before in another one. I want to be Iron Man, but I don't want to be Iron Man. I can't stop being Iron Man, so
Can't switch it off.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stop being Iron Man. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
kind of gives you a really good explanation of Iron Man, the end of Iron Man 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Why it sort of changed.
Yeah. It's like I just don't want to do it. I don't want to not be Iron Man. I can't turn this off.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to keep on doing it. This interaction between the two of them is just it's their relationship in a nutshell
Yeah.
because this doesn't end here. This
Yeah,
continues on.
they can't work around it. They can't like put it
Work
to
around their
bed.
differences. No,
Yeah.
they can't work around their differences, and it's Tony's. You can see Tony's like when he picks the pen up, he's like, oh, he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it, and then the
Yeah.
crushing blow when he's like, I don't want to break the setup.
Yeah. I mean, it
Because
would have happened if Tony hadn't kept talking because he can't stop, like
no,
um this is a part I laughed a lot because it was like Sharon Carter's hanging about here as well. She's like, here's a receipt for your gear, like the shield and stuff. And like Sam's like bird costume. Come on.
yeah, and also before when they're walking in and then they're mentioning that they're their stuff's going to be kept. And he was
Yeah.
like, I'm not getting that shield back, am I? And she's like, well, technically it's the government shield. Technically it's not.
It was the
Just,
government's it was the government's trash, wasn't it? Because like he was
yeah.
like, ah, that's just sitting there. And then
It
he was
was
like, I like
Tony
this
had it
one.
for years.
Yeah, true.
It was not the government's property. It's actually Tony Stark's.
It was in the background of all those movies to give us
Yeah, it
hints.
was actually used as a prop to prop
Yeah.
something up. So,
Um, yeah.
no.
So this is where we find out how smart Zemo's been, because he's managed to simultaneously take over the psychiatrist role and also
Hmm.
plan an EMP bomb to go off at the power station, all to
So we can,
coincide, so he can read off
yeah.
the trigger words for the Winter Soldier and get his mission report from 1991. Because I think we did see it in the start. He was getting little baggies of what we were to assume is super soldier serum. um
Is that what it looks like now?
I think so, medical bags if super villains want them. So yeah, this is where it all kicks off again, and the Winter Soldier has to like fight his way through like all of the heroes. He like shoots a gun right in Tony's face, but he like blocks it with his like gauntlet,
Oh,
so
God,
he has like
yeah.
one hand free. Black Panther has another go. But yeah, he squirrels away, almost flies out in a helicopter, and then we get the sexy flex scene where Cap pulls the helicopter back down. And then,
Um, Not a lot of stunt work done by Mr. Evans. It was
yeah.
done all by himself.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That one bit.
There's a reason that Chris Evans got a lot of money for this movie. Um, a lot of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, stunt work done by him, and that is a very magical moment.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. Because it shows you like you never really get a full gauge of like what people's strength levels is, but it shows you like, oh, this is, if Cap has to do it, this is like
He
how
will do
strong it
it.
can be. He actually pulled a helicopter back down to the ground. It does still topple in the river though, because Bucky and Cap can't seem to stop falling in bodies of
No.
water with
Yeah,
flight equipment.
they just want to end up there. I was going to say something else that would sound really wrong.
But yeah, so this is enough to knock the programming back out of Bucky's brain, I guess, because he wakes back up in the factory from Ant Man. Sorry,
We're at the Ant-Man bit.
yeah, pretty much. But we get a little more where he's like, "I'm not the only Winter Soldier," and we're all like,
What? But doesn't he do the whole your mother's name was Sarah
"Yeah, yeah."
and
He's like, "That wasn't in the museum."
no, he gives him more to make him realize that Bucky's still in there
Yeah, and
somewhere.
he does actually remember the old times, not just what he's been able to
And
pick up.
if we got the deleted scene from the first Avenger, we would know that his mother's name was Sarah.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. Um, so yeah, yeah. So this is where we find out. Zemo wants to know where the thing is, where the super Russian prison thing was in Siberia, where he can get more Winter Soldiers. Um, they were like described as Hydra's most elite death squad. Like they actually do look worse than Bucky, like
Yeah,
on the psychopath meter.
yeah.
And yeah,
Well,
this
the
is where
people.
we get the I know a guy because we need some
I
more help.
Yes, absolutely. But we also, is this where we get the introduction of the guy who's behind you?
Yeah, for
The
Underoos.
moment nerds lost their mind.
Yeah, I think I remember in the cinema people being a bit like when it was like, oh,
Yeah,
back in Queens.
this was such a moment. Obviously, Sony has had Spider-Man for some time up
Yes.
to this very moment where a deal is made between Sony and Marvel for
Yep.
for a new Spider-Man to be introduced into the MCU.
Yeah.
This was huge. And Tom Holland, bless his little heart, had so much riding on his shoulder. Like this is
Oh
make
yeah.
or break. And they made it. This is
Yeah.
I love this version of Spider-Man, given that I am not a huge Spider-Man fan, and especially I don't know if anyone notices, but I do just call him Spider-Man.
Joel's
Um,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Um, I love this version of him. I love the fact that he is a kid. I love the fact that we didn't even have to know his origin story. Tony cuts him off.
Yeah. Yeah, about the spider bite. We don't even technically know if it was a full-on classic
No,
spider bite at this point.
and Uncle Ben don't even know anything about him, do we? We don't care
No.
because we've already heard it so many times before.
Yeah.
But there's one part of Spider-Man's introduction that there's one bit of dialogue that I absolutely love that from Tom Holland where he's like, I couldn't do it then, so I can't do it now.
Oh yeah, like he can't change his life because he
Hmm.
has powers now. He has to keep on acting
Yeah.
like he did before.
Hmm.
Which yeah, has got to be tough when you just want to have fun. But that's how Spider-Man gets his uncle accidentally killed by by taking his powers a little and playing a little bit fast and loose with them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've been on record before on Nerdy Up North Things being like, I like an older Spider-Man because when I was a child and I watched the animated show, he looked about 30 and he had a man's voice. So like that's my nostalgic Spider-Man. So yeah, this is the part where they have to recruit some extra guys, to help out because they know a
Things are gonna
fight's
get tough.
coming.
Yeah, things
Yeah.
are gonna get tough and we need teams.
Yeah.
This is all the Avengers are about is we need teams.
How
Um,
funny is Scott Lang though, like in this whole interaction where he just like
this is just the best.
he's somehow asleep in the back of the van, so
It's
he gets a shock when the door
It's
opens.
like, I know you. My favorite moment is in the middle of the fight where he's like, I believe this belongs to you, Captain America.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
he's,
He's been rehearsing that
but
one.
again, this is something that plays out later on in the Ant-Man movies. And and it's actually, it's quite a long going joke because
Yes.
he does it here. He does the whole Captain, and he keeps calling him Captain America. He never calls him Steve. He never calls him Captain Rogers. He
Yeah.
calls him Captain America. And then he brings it up with Hope in Ant-Man and the Wasp, where he's like, "Well, yeah, Captain America's my friend." She's like, "Will you please stop saying Captain America?" Like, but then she does it in
Yeah.
Infinity War when she comes, or in Endgame when she comes in and she's like, "We're on a cap," like,
Yeah.
and he's
And
like, "Yeah,
like
you got
he
it."
does like the too long handshake and then sort of feels his muscles and stuff.
And he's
Everything that a
like, "Oh
fanboy
my
would
God,
do.
you're great. I know you too."
Oh, and we sort of skipped over it. There's a quick scene where they get the suit and like his shield back from Sharon, and there's a part where Bucky and Sam are sat in the car, and he's like, "Can you move your seat up?" And Sam's like, "No."
No.
It's just so
So
funny.
you're starting to get that dynamic between them two at this point.
Yeah.
You also the so Wanda is still in the compound, and
Oh yeah.
we have another brilliant Hawkeye deep moment with Wanda where it's like if you want to be part of this, you need to get off your ass
Hmm.
and do something. But Vision tries to stop them, but this is really where you see like shit, like
Like
Wanda's hot.
Vision's invincible pretty much, but Wanda is on a different level and she can sort of
Massively because
stop
she
him.
literally plants him in the ground.
Yeah. He goes well far down
Yep,
there.
yep. And Wanda joins the fight with Hawkeye because Hawkeye's there to get her out. Because
Yeah.
she, Cap knows that Wanda is not going to like the idea of being kept captive. She
Yeah.
is being held captive for the majority of her young life.
Exactly, yeah.
This is just keeping her in another cage. Yes, it's a great they've got some facilities, but it's still essentially keeping Wanda in a cage. Cap doesn't want that for her. He knows how damaging that could be.
Yeah. It's the whole like right to choose thing, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
what he's always been about, like freedom, like as is defined as people are free to choose things. Not like,
exactly.
patriotic freedom.
Yeah,
um,
exactly. So you've have that moment. So you've got on one side we see the team of Hawkeye, my Hawkeye, love him. Ant-Man, Winter Soldier, Falcon, Wanda.
yeah,
Yeah,
and Cap, yeah.
and Cap. Cap, obviously Cap. And then on the other side, you get Iron Man, War Machine, um, Black Widow, Vision,
Yeah, Black
because
Panther.
what we forgot to mention is Vision's stance on this whole thing
Yeah, he's
is
very
that
like he's trying to be super logical about it, but like that don't work when human emotions are in the way.
no, because and he makes such a good point. Ever since Iron Man said,
Yeah.
"I am Iron Man," the increase in supervillains is obviously, and then obviously the threat is
Hmm.
increased because there's someone there to oppose it.
Yeah.
So Vision's kind of like maybe this is something that we need in order to keep us like he is looking at it at a logical point of view.
Hmm.
So Vision is on the side of Iron Man, and then we get the introduction of Spider-Man.
Yeah. So it's like framed as like a gotcha because he takes the shield off
Yeah.
Captain America immediately.
And has
Um,
Cap's hands tied up above his head, but then
yeah.
that brings the reveal because it just looks like at this moment in time it's just Cap, Winter Soldier, and Sam.
Yes, I forgot about that.
And that's when the reveal of Spider-Man happens, the web gets shot across
Yeah.
his hands, and then you get Hawkeye who has Ant-Man on his arrow, who then takes out the web thing, and then Ant-Man is able to grow bigger to grab the shield. It's such an
Yeah.
amazing sequence to then stand next to him and goes, I believe this is yours, Captain America.
I just love that Tony thought he had a gotcha, and then Cap also had a gotcha like right back. Um,
It's like basically one give a middle finger and then another one give deuces.
yeah,
Like it was so good.
and it's good because we're led to believe Steve's like a master tactician and stuff. He's good at like giving orders and getting the situation right.
Hmm.
Um, one thing I noticed watching this, it's the fight is awesome. It's very clear. You can see everything. There's no dodgy parts where you're like, I have no idea what's
Brilliant,
going on.
brilliant still shots as well.
Yes, what I will say though is I kind of wish it was done a little bit more artistically. Like it's very like I'm trying to think of a good word, like sterile, like lab environment sort of feel. Like it's very white and stark. Like I would have maybe liked if it was a bit like moody and like like a storm rolled in
Grim.
while they were fighting and you had a sort of silent moment,
I
like
get that. It's too bright. When this
yeah.
is kind of a bit of a grim moment for our heroes. They're having to face
Yeah.
off against each other.
I'm just kind of thinking, like old like samurai movies and stuff where you get that silent
The
moment where
rain.
everyone's just sort of watching. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and the rain kicks in and it's like just an
yeah.
added element to this whole
If I
shitty
was, because
experience.
I'm pretty sure in the comic it is raining during
It's
like it's
proper
dark as
grim.
well.
The aesthetic
Yeah.
of the comic, when especially in battle scenes, is
Yeah.
very dark and grim and puts you in the mood of this is just shit. Like this is
So
we shouldn't be here.
yeah. So like I do like this because you can see everything, like it's a very well choreographed action scene where you don't ever get confused and miss stuff.
Hmm.
But I would kind of maybe like to see like an edit if anyone's done like a fan edit to make this like more like moody and artistic. But
That's an
um
interesting take. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Um,
like it's just one of them things. Like I like this, but I was just thinking it does look a little bit stark
right.
and like sort of featureless. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's all
now that
about the
you've
characters, though, I guess.
yeah, and I think that's what I concentrate more on this point because
Mhm.
my eyes aren't the youngest, and when on rewatch, I was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" I love the opening where they are running at each other. At
Yeah.
first, it is it's slightly cringy
Mhm.
because they clearly are friends facing off, and it's like, guys, you shouldn't be doing this. But then you get Wanda who just shoots up, and then
Yeah.
Vision's obviously in the air. So you've got your airbound, you've got your ground like
Yeah.
people, and it's like, oh, this is epic. I
And none of
always
them have
remember,
seen Iron Man before. Sorry, Ant-Man. So everything he's doing is like surprising.
yes,
That
exactly.
part
And they
with
don't
that
know
part
what to
with the
expect.
water truck. It's
Oh
so
my God, I
funny.
thought it was a water truck. Like a fire hydrant, like fire thing.
Because
Like
you would believe him though. He probably did think that, because
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I've no doubt
he's
that
trying to
that's
be nice.
yeah, he's trying to make it a clean fight. Like it's not he's not out to like really hurt anyone. Because I think this is the thing. We all know that every single one of them is pulling their punches, which is why
Yeah,
Wanda points it out later on
to
with
Clint. Yeah.
exactly. Um oh gosh, you get some brilliant moments in this, but I will always remember this time of it. I loved this time in the Marvel
Yeah.
Cinematic Universe because the promo stuff was absolutely brilliant. My cheese strings were was Civil War based, and you had one team on one and one team on the other, like a pack of two. And I
Yeah.
used to get them every week, and I was like, "What team am I this week?" Yeah. Yeah,
um
I eat like a child, by the way.
so
Lunchable is my favorite dinner.
I do just want to quickly mention because Wanda's actress has mentioned this before. She did not like her costume in that she's the only one with cleavage out, and everyone else gets like full suits for battle,
Coverage.
and she has to wear like a that sort of like
Hmm.
jacket with a corset sort of number going on. It is
But if you are
fixed.
wanting to, but if you are want to keep the like, and it is later
Mhm.
on, and I love our suit later on, but we can't. The establishment of the Scarlet Witch isn't there yet, so you
No,
are looking at costuming from the comics that kind
she
of
has to.
will,
She has to look a little bit like street clothes, I guess, because no one's
yeah.
really sort of
But
accepted her into the fold yet.
I get our complaints because you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There's been a lot, there is a lot of there's always been a lot of controversy when it comes down to women's clothing in comic books.
And she looks a bit uncomfortable. I mean, we've said that before about like certain people, like Lady Sif looked quite uncomfortable as well
Yeah,
in the
but
costuming. So
look
hopefully
at
they're better about that now.
oh, absolutely. But look at the evolution of Captain Marvel when she was
Mhm.
Ms. Marvel to Captain Marvel. She used to wear a black leotard corset,
Like bikini thing,
and
yeah,
that was
with a
it.
lightning bolt on
Now
it.
she was, yeah, black and yellow. Now she is full on captain, like the
Yeah,
suit is full on coverage, and we're not it's not all about the tits and the ass anymore,
yeah,
and I love that progression for her. So yeah, I kind of I get where she's coming from.
yeah,
Especially when Black Widow's got that amazing sleek
yeah. And like
costume on.
this is the one movie where I don't think there's any creeper shots of Black Widow, which is nice. Like because
Thank
like
God.
I feel like every other movie we've had some kind of weird like sexual pose with her, and in this one it's like,
No.
no, she's a fighter and
No,
spy,
and
and
she
that's
is.
it.
And this then leads us to one of the greatest moments in cinematic Marvel cinematic history
Mm.
for me. The person who I was with at the time got a hell of a punch in the leg when it happened. I nearly stood up on my from my seat. Um,
You grew 3 sizes. That's it.
when he turned into Giant Man, I lost my
Yeah,
mind. I could not believe that they went there so soon with Ant-Man.
yeah,
Um,
I love it as well because it's one of the things that fans know about, but I don't think like fair weather sort of movie watchers would have picked up on. And I love that he has to do a mini explanation because he's like, if anyone's
I
got anything big, now's the time. And he's like, I think so.
kind
I
of
haven't
do
really tested it. Oh, I did once and I
in
passed
a
out.
lab. If I
Yeah.
split in and if I split in half, like okay, but then and Bucky's like he's gonna split in half. Like Bucky's like so he's very Drax in that moment and takes things very literal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lost my mind over this. Oh my God, I forgot to mention Black Panther was on their team. Um,
Oh, we did. It's all right.
it's just
We
come
got
to my
him.
head. But yeah, because I just loved it. And bearing in mind, like I wasn't an Ant-Man Scott Lang fan. But between their movie and this, I was like, I went on a deep dive with
It's like knowing
Ant-Man.
a little secret though that the MCU fans don't know, and you know it's gonna come up at some point, and you just
I
sort of
was
waiting.
literally like, I could see, like, I was going,
He's
oh
gonna
my
press
God. And
the
I was
other
like,
button.
and then instead of standing up, I just punched the person next to us. And I was like, that did it.
But I love how he's
Um,
like he gets immediately like slow like a movie monster like straight away. But it
it's
looks
the
great.
eyes, it's the oh ho ho.
And yeah, like
Oh,
because nobody like half the people probably never even saw him because he was half like tiny most of the time on the
I lo
battlefield.
yeah, do you know what I wish? I wish we got to see him with his giant head, but I know fine well it would have been stretched out. It would look terrible. So just seeing his eyes were more than enough. Yeah, so this is where a giant man goes full on, colossal, boom,
Yeah.
boom,
And so
breaking
like
stuff.
this is their big distraction to let Cap and Bucky get away in the jet because they're like, some of us aren't going to make it out of this. This
I
was
love
always sort of the
Sam.
idea.
I love Sam in this moment where he's like, "You need to go now," and he's like, "No, no," and he's like, "Sam," he's like, "Cap, this is not the real fight, and you know
Yeah.
this. You need to go."
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love. I mean, obviously, you know, if you
Yeah.
listen to us, you know how we feel about Sam
We're
Wilson.
Sam's biggest supporters, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So yeah, I love that moment with them, but obviously this fight leads as much as T'Challa is just about to get to them
Yeah.
when Black Widow, has a conscience and is like, "Well, I said I'll get you them, but I never said like I
Yeah,
was
she didn't
gonna
say
keep them."
she wouldn't get in your way. And she just
Yeah,
keeps zapping him with like, stun gun shots and
yeah.
he's kind of like,
So it's
keep
like
on.
it just shows that Black Widow kind of she, she can't disagree
Yeah.
with Cap. There's because of that bond, but this is where we have one of probably the most devastating moments yet to an Avenger.
Yeah, there's a funny moment just first because the dude finally take down Giant Man with the
But
really,
how
really the really, really old movie reference from Empire
how
Strikes
I
Back.
hated that moment. But yes, this is the AT-AT moment
And they're like,
where
how old is this kid? Like
yeah
Tony.
where they basically strap
Yeah,
Iron Man. Ugh, they strap
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
I've said it twice already wrong. I do love it when, you like because it looks like it hurts him when he shrinks back to normal size. He takes like the mask off. He's just like, oh,
Anyone got any orange slices? Yeah, they do this. They do the at moment at this point. So Star
yeah,
Wars reference.
yeah.
But yeah, this is the next part is It's devastating. Like I know that
Mhm.
we're not, War Machine's not the
Our
best.
favorite, but I don't
Yeah,
want to see
but
anyone get
not in this way.
paralyzed.
Not in this way. I mean, don't get us wrong. I feel like this kind of makes Roddy. Later
Yeah.
on, like this experience really does change him.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously it would, wouldn't it? But the Wanda has a moment on the floor where Vision ends up helping her, and Vision and obviously Wanda are having their moment because we all know where that leads to.
Yeah.
But in the air, you've got Falcon, War Machine, and
The
Tony,
chase on the jet.
the
Yeah.
chase and the jet. That's right. And War Machine he basically demands to Vision to take it out, and Vision, not thinking, just strikes up in the air.
Hmm.
Sam can clearly sense like in some way knows that it's about to hit him, and does
Hmm.
this amazing turn, but in turn. It hits Roddy in the chest and knocks out his arc reactor,
Yeah.
and watching him tumble to the ground, like watching the realization of him being able, fully conscious of looking at him going down to then
Yeah. And the
out.
music cuts out as well, so you know it's
And you've got, yeah,
a
it's
bad scene.
serious. And you've got Tony and Falcon chasing after him as well. Sam goes
Yeah.
straight for him, but then Tony gets to him as he hits the floor and zaps Falcon on the floor.
Yeah, I don't like that part 'cause but I know it's
That
like he's hurting. But that's just more of like Tony lashing out. Really, he can never control his emotions.
no,
He always
no.
has to lash out or like overcorrect things.
So we've
Um,
we've had a serious incident
mhm.
where, I mean, I feel like everyone in this fight knew that this was
Yeah,
not going to be too serious. We can't make this too serious because there is still something there between us all. But when that happens, it's all too real, and it's all
yeah.
too real for Tony.
And he even quizzes Vision in the hospital. He's like, "How did you let this happen? Like you're supposed to be like perfect." And he's like, "I got distracted." And it's like
Hmm.
he's like, "I didn't think you could get distracted." And he's like, "No, neither did I," sort of thing. And
Yeah,
it's like the first little glimpse of Vision's humanity, I guess, or
starting to peer through.
imperfections, which is a human trait,
And
which
also
he said he
no,
liked before.
and
When he was talking to Ultron, he was like, they're weird, but I like the, chaos and
but
imperfections.
Tony also has to realize he made him. So that
Yeah,
for whatever flaws that Vision has, or if
yeah,
you can class them as flaws, whatever that is, Tony put it there.
yeah. Um, and this is where we sort of split the focus of the film. So we track Tony for a bit while he goes to the raft, but we also track Bucky and Cap
Well,
as they go to Siberia.
that's right. But before that, this is where Tony starts to realize Cap's right. That
Yeah.
the Winter Soldier is being set up.
Yeah, I think that's when he's like just like is it leaving the raft or before he goes? Because he starts looking into some of the behind the scenes, like, because they know
Yeah,
basically they find the body of the psychiatrist, and then that sort of
yeah. It
starts a
kind of
knock
it
on.
knock
Yeah,
on effect, and it blah, 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 get me words
yeah.
out. It lands back to Zemo, which then the information lands
Yeah.
back to Tony.
You
There's another bit of dialogue I hate from Tony at this moment as well.
what in the
Well,
prison?
it's when he's talking to Black Widow.
Right, right.
But
Yeah,
Thaddeus
yeah.
knows what you did, so you know. Meh.
Yeah. Like a proper like spoilt child. And I love it though when he goes to the prison and Hawkeye's like, the futurist is here, everyone. like
Don't
just
trust him.
everyone's giving him a hard time, which I love.
It's
But
it's and
yeah,
it's Scott's.
yeah,
Look, Hank Pym always said, "Never trust a Stark." Who are
yeah.
you? Oh
I
man,
know.
like
That
I
yeah,
love
that
that line.
sucks.
But
He-
it's Falcon who he's there to see.
yeah, because he is actually caring about Rhodey and asking about him. But yeah, he kind of like turns the cameras off so he can have a quick like frank conversation where they get
Yeah,
like because he wants to know where Cap's going, but to Sam's credit, he just doesn't give it up. He's like,
no,
"No, you've made this bed.
you
Figure it
can
out
lie
on
in
your
it.
own."
Exactly, you can lie in it. Like Sam is so loyal.
Yeah,
Um, he knows where his allegiance lies.
yeah.
Um,
He knows he did the
so
right thing, which
yeah,
I agree with. Um, yeah, but Tony does figure it out, and then we get everyone meeting up in Siberia. We find out Zemo, in fact, didn't want to release Hydra's evil Avengers.
mm,
He wanted to kill them.
yeah.
He didn't want any more super soldiers in the world that they already are.
So this is all
um,
part of Zemo's elaborate plan is to
yes,
get them here.
yeah, yeah, and it does not end well because
No, it
Zemo
does not.
is ready to show the footage
That
in
is going
show
to destroy
yeah,
everything.
yeah. So that car accident, that December 91 mission, was the assassination of the Stark family, because they must have been taking the serum somewhere. um
Because
and
he said he had to go to he had to go somewhere
yeah,
first before they head to the airport.
yeah,
Um,
they never
yeah,
made it to that airport
they
because
did
Bucky.
not. No, well, let's call him as he is because that time he is the Winter Soldier. He's not Bucky
Yeah,
Barnes.
yeah, but
Um,
you get to see it. You actually get to see the murder as well, which is kind of sick.
It's the thumping
Yeah, he
noises.
just punches him to death,
Ew. Yep.
which isn't good.
Nope.
Then
But
chokes his mother.
before that, there is another reconnection moment between Cap and Iron Man where he's like, "Listen, I'm sorry.
Oh
I
yeah,
get like, yeah, you were totally right. Bonds is being set up by Zemo. I'm here to help you," kind of thing. And Cap's like, I think then this is another running thing with Cap. He's like always he knows Tony doesn't mean
yeah,
bad things, so he's always willing to be like, "I'm ready
so,
to work with you."
yeah. True, true. Um,
He never holds anything against him. Like there's so many times he could have went, "Well, you're a dick then, fuck off, I don't want you." But
yeah,
Cap never does that. So he's like more than willing to like, come on then let's go and finish this mission off. And
yeah,
then the video reveal and the fact that Cap knew. That's the
yeah,
worst part.
yeah. Which he does explain later in the note that he was sort of trying to save his feelings about
The-
that.
the- Well, the thing is, it's also his friend died too. Like
Yeah,
Howard was a friend of Cap. Like
yeah, yeah,
He is basically Cap's daddy in respect of the Captain America Steve Rogers, not the actual Steve Rogers, but the Captain
yeah,
America
yeah.
style of Steve Rogers. It comes really from Howard Stark. So there's obviously that deep rooted connection there. Um,
There's a lot of
this
bad family stuff that everyone's having to deal with.
this this
Tragedy.
moment, but this moment though, when Tony's watching it, you can't help but like want to hide and not
Mhm.
see it, and you kind of want to like Tony, just look over there,
Yeah,
kind of thing, but he
but
doesn't, and
like, yeah,
it's the
it's a
break in his voice.
it's a horrible fight. But like again, this is like Tony's MO when he loses control. He always wants to know like why. It's always like he has to find out, like there has to be a reason because he like he like shoves him up against the wall, and he's like, "Do you remember them?" And like Bucky's like, "I remember all of them." Like he remembers every kill he's done.
Mhm.
Uh, you
Which I
know,
think might, do you know what? If he said he didn't, might not have made it as bad because then it kind of like the whole mind control thing, because that's
mhm.
just making it like how deep in mind control was he? That
Yeah,
are these,
I think it's more that it's had a toll on him as well.
yeah,
It like chips
mm,
away at it's he knows what he's done
yeah.
deep down, whether or not he was in control at the time or
Mm,
remembers the details. But
it's just Tony's voice
yeah,
breaking when he's like, "Did you know?"
yeah.
Oh, I hate it. I
That
hate
was
it. I
that was
hate
the
that
one
part
moment
so
that could have
much.
turned it around, like, and not started the fight, but
If he just turned around and said, "No, no, I didn't,"
he doesn't
because
like
then
lying.
no, I think that fight really is more about Steve than it is about the Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
because it's Steve lying to him.
Oh yeah, Bucky's sort of just there. He just gets knocked around, gets his arm like melted off with
But
Iron Man beams.
but when
um,
Steve starts going full, like I
yeah.
can do this all day, Steve Rogers beating the shit out of him with his shield to the point where his mask flies off and he is just about to hit him in the face.
He just wants he just wants to knock Tony out basically because he can't see this stopping any other way.
No.
So you don't even get that much trying to reason with each other. It's like, no, one of us has to go down for this fight to end. Like they
Yeah.
both know it. Um,
Yeah.
and unfortunately
Uh,
for Tony, he gets his metal heart stabbed in, so he can't fight anymore.
it's when he's shouting, "That shield doesn't belong to you.
Yeah.
He wouldn't want you to have it right now."
Yeah,
And
and
he
he
just
just leaves it.
throws it at him. He just have it. It means
Yeah, and
nothing.
it's got the Black Panther claw mark in it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's tarnished now.
Yeah.
It's all very good. Nice imagery matching the
Yeah.
story.
And Tony's left heartbroken in more ways than one.
Yeah, because
He's
that's not a
just had
good
a
outcome for Tony. He
no,
didn't win.
he's just had the reveal of his parents' death, something that
Yeah,
he has probably agonized over
yeah,
countless amount of times, and it is fully revealed that that was a preventable measure. It wasn't actually an accident.
yeah.
This didn't have to happen. And then obviously a person who his father, looked up to, helped create. He's been a permanent for all the Tony, for all the Cap has only known Tony since the Avengers.
Mhm.
He's known Cap all his life,
Yeah, yeah.
and now it's gone. He's gone. That
And
person's not there anymore.
and he's siding with the guy who killed his family, but like when you think about it, that's Cap's only family now. So
Yeah, and
it's his only link to his old life,
it's
like
when he
any
just
kind of normalcy.
yeah, just when he picks Bucky up and like
Yeah.
tootling out there, it's like, oh,
It's almost as if Tony wants to be
no
Bucky,
one.
as in like he wants Cap to look out for him like that.
Yeah, no one.
Um,
Exactly, that's what all he
yeah,
wants is that
yeah,
kind of relationship. He really probably does see him as a brother,
yeah.
because it's all he's ever known all his life. His dad's probably talked about the great Steve Rogers and the
Yeah.
sacrifice that he made, and Tony's like had a lot to live up to. And now that he's there, he's with him. Maybe he can see what his dad's always been talking about, but
Oh yeah, for sure.
they
He
are
doesn't he
too.
doesn't want to admit it, but he knows that
No,
Steve's great.
yeah, but
Yeah.
so we get the aftermath of what happened with War Machine, and we get the amazing Stanley cameo.
Yeah, well, he's the postman again, which I think he was in the Fantastic Four movie. It's not the same
Yes, he
guy.
was. It's not. We've already
No.
established this later on, but is
Yeah.
that Tony Stank?
He's like, yes, it is totally
Yes.
that is totally something that I would say if that happened to like, one of the Nerdy Up North crew.
Yeah, yeah. That's him. Yep, that's him.
uh,
Yeah, we get to see that he's kind of like he's got the. I mean, I
yeah.
think you're always going to know that Rory, if it's because you do find out when Tony's at the hospital that he is going to be paralyzed.
Mhm.
That Tony was, something was going to mechanically make him
Yeah,
be
but his
able
like
to.
military career is over, which is, well, in live combat is over.
Yeah, he has exoskeleton leg bracelets, and
Mhm.
you see him kind of struggle to walk. But like Roddy's very much, I need to do this on my own. Like back off.
Yeah.
the most beautiful part about this is when we're getting the storyline with Rhodey and he's getting the exoskeleton legs, and at the same time in real life, RDJ is given a child the first ever bionic kind of like arm. He's an
All right.
amputee. I'm probably butchering the story. It's something that
Yeah.
it pops up on my timeline every year on Facebook because it was
Hmm.
such a beautiful moment that Iron Man was not gifting,
Yeah.
but being a part of the presentation
Almost like
for
it was
this
real, like
for
Iron
this
Man's
child,
real.
yeah, for this child who had, amputated arm, and he was getting almost like an Iron Man style arm,
Yeah.
that was fully like flexible,
Yeah.
like the fingers could move. It was such a massive moment, and I thought like lovely coincided with,
Yeah.
Cody's journey.
Yeah.
Cody, Roddy.
No, not Cody Rhodes,
No,
Rhodey.
that is very confusing.
um, yeah, so this is where we find out though that Cap's busted all our favorite guys out of the raft prison.
Is that,
Yay.
yeah, so the phone call, there's a message left for
Yeah.
Tony on a mobile phone,
A very nice message.
which comes into play later on, and he's like, the Avengers
Hmm.
is yours. Maybe it always has been yours.
Yeah.
More so than it was ever mine, because Cap's never gonna agree with the Avengers clear-cut message that Tony wants to give.
Hmm.
It's never gonna work. But he
Yeah.
does do this massive speech that I'm still gonna be there for you. I'm still here for you. If you need me, you know how to get me.
Yeah.
And we do know that later on because it's a massive callback.
Yeah.
But that when you see him like in the shadows, sorry, me cat's chasing something and it's worrying us what the hell it could be.
I can't see.
Can you
The
see him
viewers,
though?
did you see it, viewers? What was the
um,
thing?
yeah. So you see you see Sam at the glass pane, and then you just see his image come up behind it, and I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
love it, love it. But yeah,
Yeah.
he breaks Sam out. He doesn't break Ant-Man or Hank out.
Oh, does he
Hawkeye.
not?
No, because Ant-Man, obviously that goes into his story where he gets released from
Yeah.
prison. He has to wear the tag, and Hawkeye takes a plea deal in order to go home.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So he only
Okay.
breaks Sam out.
That's
Um,
true. Maybe, yeah, maybe Sam was the only one he wanted to go. It was up for going on the run for a bit.
exactly. I mean, you got to think we already know that Clint has a family, and that him getting brought, it's
Yeah.
too much. He can't, like, he could probably have a bargaining chip. If I can get out of here in another way, I need to go home to my
I know
family.
loads of government secrets, so you better let me
Yeah,
out.
let me out. But we have the mid credit scene
Yeah.
where, of all places, oh, that's right. Sorry, we've totally missed a part out, which will explain the next part.
Mhm.
So when when the whole thing with the Captain America and Iron Man and Bucky is all taking place, Zemo is outside revealing his grand plan to none
Oh,
other
yeah.
than T'Challa,
Yeah.
who is there to stop the Winter Soldier because he killed his dad. It's all vengeance, it's all revenge. And
Yeah.
as T'Challa is hearing Zemo and his reasonings behind it, Zemo planned this whole thing because he knew he needed revenge for his family dying in Sokovia.
Yeah. He
And he's
tells like a really sad version of it where like he thought they were safe and saw Iron Man flying around and stuff,
yeah,
but they were
and
too close to like the impact and stuff like
yeah,
that.
and it was too late for them, and they died. And there's a voicemail that he keep him hearing, and it's just before it's his wife telling him that everyone's safe and your son misses you
Yeah.
and we want you to come home. And as he's telling this story, he says that he knew we couldn't kill the Avengers, so he had to create an elaborate plan for
Mhm.
them to be able to do it to themselves.
Yeah.
T'Challa hearing this, he is just how much this revenge has just consumed him, and he can't be like that anymore. You froze a second.
Oh yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, do you know what was so weird? You were just staring dead at us, and then all of a sudden you blinked. That really spooked us. Don't do that.
Zoom, guys, it's not great.
It's like when my Bluetooth goes from my headset, but Dan goes quiet for like a full second, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is it gone? And then she starts speaking again. Yeah, so T'Challa doesn't want this vengeance to completely consume him. He's like,
Yeah.
I can't live like this. So this really helps with the decision at the mid-credit scene where he grants Bucky asylum in Wakanda.
Yeah, because they're kind of like their own sort of nation in the world. And yeah, we find out that Bucky's going back under because he's
Yeah,
like, look, I can't have when I don't know
this.
what's in my brain. I don't want to
What?
be like, a threat to innocence.
I don't want. Yeah,
Um,
and the part, like, he probably doesn't even know what's real and what's not.
no.
Needs a
But
good
sadly,
clean
that
out.
means Cap's losing his friend again
But
for a
he's
while.
safe. But
Yes.
this time, he is in safe hands. The
Yeah.
Wakandans are going to really look after him. And as we know, when we get to Black Panther, he is in the best hands with Shuri.
Yeah, and he gets a new arm and all that fun stuff.
Gets that
Um,
red star taken off his arm.
yeah, the Soviet star.
Yeah,
But that's pretty much it for our heroes. We get another quick flash to Spider-Man, but that's kind of just like a little
it's just
jokey.
it's just to
Yeah.
let you know that he's here.
It's
We
to
have
let you know
him.
he's going to return as well, because that is in bold writing on the screen. Spider-Man will return,
Yeah,
to let you know it's not just a one-off cameo.
yeah.
But yeah, he says like he's talking to Aunt May, trying to say like who gave him the black eye, and he's like, oh, it was a guy named Steve,
He's like,
and
well, I
she's
hope you
like,
give
what?
him.
Yeah, she's like, what, this Steve? And he's like, no, from Brooklyn.
Yes, because they have that lovely moment, don't they? Where he's like, "Where you from, kid?" And he's like,
Yeah,
"Queens, Brooklyn." And I
yeah.
still, for
You
all I've
got
seen
heart,
this film,
kid.
for all I've seen this film a million times, anytime that question has come up in a quiz, I always get it wrong. Where
Oh,
is Steve Rogers from?
you pick a different borough.
I always say Queens because
you
it
know,
really confuses me.
we're gonna have Yancey Street soon to confuse you as well once
Oh
the
my
thing
gosh.
comes in.
Oh wow, yeah. But yeah, that kind of ties everything up for Civil War, but
Yeah.
it leaves everyone in a bit of a funny place. And the next time we're in that place together is Infinity War, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
we're gonna get a long break, before we catch back up with the Avengers. We got like 2 years worth of
Yeah.
movies to get
But
through.
there was a lot of argument is where's Hulk, where's Thor? And it is brought up with Thaddeus where he's like, where are your
Yeah,
two biggest nukes at? And because
yeah,
if I lost two nukes, there'd be questions and the reason you can't have Thor and Hulk in this movie is because they're too superpowered and it
yeah,
wouldn't be a fair fight. You would literally lose in a second, depending on which side they chose. That other side is broken.
yeah. And I don't think Bruce would want to pick a side. So that would be, he
But
wouldn't.
we're
Yeah,
but we're all going to be going after, Ragnarok.
space. We are going to
Space.
space.
But yeah, the this is off the back of the 2006 2007 Marvel massive crossover event Civil War.
Yeah.
It was written by Mark Miller and penciled by Steve McNiven,
Mhm.
and the it kind of builds upon the previous storylines, from House of um Avengers Disassembled,
Mhm.
and the whose side are you on?
Always Caps usually,
Always
unless
Caps.
except Hydra Cap. But I don't think we'll see him in the
No,
movies.
I love that moment.
I know it was like I know he was undercover, but still,
Oh my God, but it broke the internet.
it
It
did.
was brilliant. But the difference between the Sokovian Accords is basically to keep everyone in check and have someone to answer to. The Superhero Registration Act that is from the comics was a way to basically out your
Yes,
superheroes.
get them all
You
on file so that the
yeah,
government
but
knows who and where.
that means secret identity completely and utterly gone,
Mm.
which creates a lot of problems because then once the people, the general public know who they are, things get a
Yeah.
bit nasty.
So like
But
in the comics, like Spider-Man reveals his identity, which causes the
it's
Kingpin to put a hit out on him,
it's
which causes
solidarity, yeah,
the hitman to accidentally shoot Aunt May, which causes Peter to make a deal with the devil to
yeah.
save Aunt May and sacrifice his marriage with Mary Jane. That's a
And
lot of
Peter then
stuff.
it's a lot, and Peter does, change sides after this event because it does all
Yeah.
have a knock-on effect.
Civil War is
Um,
where he gets his Iron Spider suit as well,
oh
like
my gosh, the
the
red
red
and
and
the
gold
yellow.
one.
Oh, gold,
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
yeah, with the
Yeah,
legs.
so it's a fantastic read. I know normally I do like a comic recommendation. Read Civil Wars entire run. And I mean this entire run because it's not just the Civil War 1 to 5.
Yeah.
Every tie-in because it all brings to this amazing storyline that
Yeah.
Mark Miller has kind of put together
It,
with like
it
along with every
it
other,
affects everyone's storylines. It's one of those
apart, well,
events.
Wolverine, yes, but the X-Men, they stay out of it. They are a
Yeah.
neutral party. Um,
This is hilariously where Wolverine gets his skin melted off by Nitro and becomes just a skeleton, but then he regrows
yeah.
himself back.
Um, there's a couple of people who are, X-Men are a neutral party in all of it. The Thing is he is a huge part of the main story, and he like
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't want nothing to do with this.
He hates it,
Um,
but he keeps getting dragged into it because they end
yeah.
up fighting in like around his area in New York and stuff.
So Thor is a neutral party in it. However, there is a clone version of Thor who is in the fight.
That's like their
Um,
big gun, like the baddie's big gun at the
yeah,
end when they're like, "Here comes a Thor."
and it's not really our
Yeah,
Thor.
yeah.
Nova, Richard Rider, who I love. He's a neutral party, but my favorite neutral party is Doctor Strange.
Oh, he's just
Hates
like,
it.
"Fuck this
He
shit."
hates it. He hates what Tony has done, and he's like, "Don't you ever contact me again. I want nothing to do with you." Yeah, I love. Honestly, it's probably one of the best reads I have ever done as
Yeah,
part of my comic book journey, especially going from one to, and then you get the best part about how I did it was I had them all in order. So
yeah.
I had the first one, and then you got your main Civil War book in the middle of it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how it does it on the Marvel app as well, because that's where I read it.
oh
So
my gosh, then do it,
yeah,
people. Read
yeah,
it.
do
It
it.
is, if you've got the time. I mean, it's 32 pages, but it's almost. Oh my God, I can't even count how many books I'm looking at right now and
Yeah,
how many
it's a lot,
titles.
but
It's a
you
lot.
go
And if
through
you are
comics quick.
if you are interested, I am more than happy to copy and paste this into the Nerdy Up North Discord in our Marvel section.
You
I'm
should put
more
in
than
the
happy to do
description
that.
as well, just so it's there for for
That's a
perpetuity,
lot.
let's call it.
But this isn't the only Civil War book that's come out. There was another one in 2015 that was tied in crossover with Secret Wars.
Mm,
It's not good. But the next one is Civil War 2,
mhm.
which was done by Brian Michael Bendis in 2016, and it was Iron Man versus Captain Marvel. I've got to say, I disliked this from the very beginning. I did
Yeah,
not like it.
that's more to do with like there is a an inhuman or something who can predict the future, and they're like, well, that solves all of our problems. And then Tony's like, no, I want free will and stuff like that.
Oh, now you want Free Will, Tony.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but I love
No,
Brian Michael Bendis. Like I mentioned before, he's the creator of Miles Morales.
yeah.
I love his work. It's just I didn't like the conflict wasn't, and especially if you're going to use an Inhuman, don't use an Inhuman against us because no. um, so yeah, I'm more than happy to put all this out there to anyone who is actually interested. I did a lot of
Yeah.
work for this episode, by the way.
Oh no, we should put stuff like this in the description because then it's just there and it's
Yeah.
always there for us to refer to. But we've done it. We have crossed the threshold of civil war. Like I say, we're gonna have a break from the big five, Avenger guys and dip into the magical realm for a little bit. The
Where are
magical
we next?
Doctor Strange
Really? I didn't. Do
by
you know
the eye of
what?
Agamotto.
Oh my God, this is going to be so good. I've got some really amazing recommendations. I'm a huge Doctor
Yeah,
Strange fan, and I've got some really good recommendations for Strange because funny enough, Strange doesn't really have his own series
yeah,
until 2015, 2016. He is
yeah.
just he's a character who dips in and out of everyone else's story,
Mhm.
apart from when he first came out, and then it was like, and then
Yeah.
he got his own. It took till 2015 for
If you
Strange to actually get.
He's basically like if you got a magical problem, you go ask Doctor Strange, and he might help you, or he might be off world doing something weird. But yeah,
Who knows?
so that'll be fun. I really like what I remember. I really like that movie. I
It
like
messed
Benedict's
it messed my
portrayal.
eyes up.
Well, hopefully it doesn't mess it up again.
I've got
Dormammu.
Dama Damamu, I've come here to bargain. Um, yeah, I'm looking for, okay, I'm excited now. I love Doctor Strange, but again, it's another Blueprint Marvel,
Yeah,
origin story.
yeah.
You can't not like it.
And like Ant-Man, it's another one that not everyone really knew his backstory. I don't think I knew it fully at the time. I've just seen him
I actually
already
did
established.
because I watched the now Marvel's for me, DC has always been superior when it comes down to the animated series and the animated
Yeah.
films. But Marvel did a really good run with the Avengers and Doctor Strange, and the Doctor Strange has his own standalone animated movie. It is
Oh,
absolutely fucking fantastic, and this is it's Doctor Strange's origin, like I just said.
yeah.
My memory's getting worse. I'm repeating myself
It's
constantly now.
okay.
But yeah, he's it's so good. It's
Well,
that's my introduction into Doctor Strange before I even started reading
yeah.
comics. Loved
That's
it.
cool though, because that's a thing. This kind of weird magical craziness usually does lend itself better to animation because you can just
Yeah.
go nuts and be like, I'm drawing anything. It's a bit harder in movies, but the CGI is excellent in this. I might see if I can find some like behind the scenes footage on how they did some of the visual effects because it's all very much like kaleidoscope stuff, like
Oh,
everything shattering everywhere. But yeah, that's fun. That's what we're going to be doing next. So thank you everyone for listening. Thanks for joining us along the ride of the countdown to Doomsday. We're still going strong. We're going to make it to Doomsday. There's Fantastic Four stuff happening. I don't know. It's crazy out there. Marvel's making moves and
it's
things.
it's so good. I actually
It
looked
is
at
good.
I looked at a schedule the other day. We are so on track.
Oh
We
yeah,
are recording on the right day of when you have it on the thing.
yeah.
Yeah, we are on track. We are on the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel under Countdown to Doomsday, but we are also on audio. We are from anywhere you get your podcast from, but I don't know where we're up to, Jake. Where we're up to.
We're still a bit back in time on the old audio front. We're only sort of in phase one because I didn't want to like drop all the episodes at
Yeah,
once.
because we didn't know at the time when we first started doing this, we weren't going to do it and put it out audio. And
Yeah.
then that changed, and it was like, how do we? And I was like, Jake, you figure that out because you're very good at scheduling things. I would have literally just dropped every single one on day one and went, have it, people.
So the first Avengers one did drop today. So I'm doing a weekly on that. So it will catch up eventually. But
Yeah,
also, if you're on Spotify, you can jump to the YouTube because that's where our premieres happen on Nerdy Up North, and they always will premiere there first. With the video with our lovely faces on. But thank you
even
so
though
much,
I look like a
Sam.
mess.
Sam's a little under the weather, but thank you so much for sticking with it,
Yeah,
finishing the episode,
yay.
so we can keep on. Because if we break the sacred
I
timeline,
can't break the secret
who
timeline.
knows
Like
what's
I
gonna happen?
Jake's like, we don't have to do this. I was like, no, we have to do this. This will hurt. Like it hurt my feelings when I couldn't record when I was like sick, like with the flu.
Yes,
So I was like, no, we're gonna do this. I'll just look like a mess. Yeah.
but
I don't
yeah.
look like my normal self.
Well, you will get better. You will prevail, like Captain America. You'll fight through it. But yes, amazing. Strange. The Doctor is next. The Doctor is in. So let's fucking go.
Fucking go.
See you
Bye
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.